Welcome, Kaylee. Thank you for coming today, sweetheart. I'm grateful that you're here. Here's some iced coffee in my green cup. I get complaints about it. People want me to have a new one, but so let me turn on my phone so I can kind of follow along there. I've got a lot to talk about today. All right. Yes, it shows that I'm on live on YouTube. All right. Well, thank you, sweetie, for coming. I appreciate it. I'm excited. And let me fix my hair. It's driving me crazy. It really is. I mean, this is partly a prepper channel, and I really, truly, I'm a prepper. I promise. Catherine Cook. Hi, Catherine. Hello to you. So let me look at her. Let me look at the comment. Can't seem to get $5 rotisserie chickens at Sam's Club. Manager said he has limit was severely reduced. Order. Yep. Blame supply chain issues and the bird flu. And I've been watching this pretty closely. Very closely, as a matter of fact. I spent the morning just watching stuff about the bird flu. So they have killed an enormous amount of chickens. And I understand that even in a backyard flock, let's say you've got 10 chickens. I thought about having chickens for our own use. I don't believe we could ever kill the chickens. So as you two know, there is another part to burning up the roads and prepping. And he would have to be the one to kill the chickens, but I have to say, I don't even think he could. It mainly would be for eggs. And since we do plan on traveling as well, I don't know that that would be responsible to leave that work for Brent when we were not here. Alex, my son, Alex. Kaylee, some blame trucking industry. Turnover of trucking jobs is high. Truckers say they are being pushed too hard, required to drive when they should be resting. You know what? As a matter of fact, they changed some laws in, I don't know what state it was, in order to allow truckers to be able to drive more. It's bizarre. Yep. I'm just checking my phone here. So eventually, if somebody watches this that does not know me, I started out as a YouTube travel channel. My husband and I bought a I don't know why, I just had a blank brain. We bought a Class C RV, and we've been able to go on one extended trip to Quartzsite, Arizona last season, not this season. And by the way, I fell in love with Quartzsite. I don't know why. It's not normal, I don't believe, to love Quartzsite. Most people come and get out as soon as possible, and that includes the people that live there. So, and I have taken an extreme interest in preparedness, in personal preparedness. And I believe that is my responsibility to know what I've got, what I need, and where I'm low on things. Because, as a matter of fact, things happen. I could only keep chickens for eggs. Exactly. And that's fine, because normally at the beginning of the month, we do a large shopping trip. And we go and we get a big thing of eggs. It's like, I think it's like 5 dozen eggs, something like that. And so we go work through those. But I'm learning there is some other things I'd like to do, by the way. Instead of just put them in the refrigerator, there is a technique called glassine eggs. And I'm going to do it. Not today, but I am going to glass eggs. And glassing eggs is the process of, I'm going to use the word fermenting. It is probably not correct, but you take fresh, unwashed eggs, and that's what I understand, is they're supposed to be unwashed. So I don't believe I could use already processed eggs from when I go to Winco, which is here, is the cheapest place in town. It is a big box warehouse of food. Big, makes Walmart, because the grocery store is as big as a Walmart. All right. So it's a big place. And hello, traveling Nate dog. Thank you for coming, Nate. I very much appreciate it. So Glassine Eggs. And it is a really interesting because it's a process of using salt and something else. I mean, I would know how to do it when I did it, but I've just watched a couple videos and I thought that's another way to prepare, because I've got eggs in the refrigerator. I want to get powdered eggs as well, and then having glassed eggs. So there would be 3 forms of eggs if in fact the grid went down here and I needed to have, or even when we're traveling, if we had eggs in the refrigerator, which, you know, are only going to have a dozen eggs at a time generally, and then something happened, I would also want the powdered eggs. And I like the liquid eggs too, because it's easy sometimes, it's lazy. And also it's easier to separate out the yolk from the white. And the egg white is more healthy than the egg yolk. Although I rarely do that, but I do like to have that option. So, Kaylee, hello. I think Glassine Eggs. How about? I'd never heard of it until I started hanging around the Travel Channel. The prepper channels. So for me, preparedness has to do with making sure I have enough food, water, medical supplies, and in different manners, like I just explained about the eggs. Raw eggs in the shell, powdered eggs, liquid eggs, and then glassing eggs. And look it up. It is extra. Before I leave here today, before we part ways, I will pull up a picture of glassing eggs. All right, so that is, so yeah, so that's what it is for me, is I believe I haven't been thinking about preparedness for years, but as I said on the interview or last week, my mother and my father prepared to a certain degree. My mother was a canner big time. My mother loved canning. And I wasn't interested in canning. I just wanted to get the heck out of the beans that they had that my father grew for her and get that over with. And then she would always get a big flat of, or more. I don't know how much she got, but I remember the big boxes that she would come in crates. She would come in with full of pears, peaches, and apples. And then we had green beans and beets and I don't know, and this other stuff called, and she made relishes. She made this relish called chow chow. Chow chow. It's a very odd name, but I did come to like chow chow. And by the way, you can make it any way you want. I would make a hot pepper chow chow. Iced coffee. So anyway, that's what's kind of going on here. And we're doing all right. I do see my neurosurgeon on the 5th again. We have to figure it out because things are not, they're not great. And I have things to do. I want to can. Okay, I may only do water bath canning because an actual pressurized canner is about $400, right around $400. And my I do not have the right size of the Instapot. My son got me Instapot a couple of years ago for Mother's Day. I have never fallen in love with Instapot cooking, but I need to. I say this all the time. And it would make things much simpler for us. Anyway, I see Dr. Miller, my neurosurgeon, on the 5th, and we're going to figure it out because right now I'm spending about 3 days a week. My son tried to keep my channel on back. There we go. I just have to push the up. Brent does a lot of work to help me just get everything set up and nice. It was kind of messy. We have some sweet children who come here, and it doesn't always get picked up 100%. And so Brent did it well, got it all put away great for me. And yeah, so I see Miller the 5th. I will have a better idea. I'll have a better idea of what we think is going on. I can read my MRI reports now. I know what they mean. I am very good at those words. When it comes to the lumbar spine, there's different things and whatnot. So anyways, I just want to get it figured out, because right now spending up about 3 days a week in bed, it's a toll on me mentally, and all I need is to have problems mentally. So I want to get moving forward with this. So if you have been following all of these fires in warehouses, give me a thumbs up. I'm real curious. And if you want to share me out on your social media, I would very much appreciate that. I invited a couple people. One moment, please. I have to answer. Oops. All right. So yeah, Brent's a great son. I love him. He's my I always call him my baby, but he's 32. You know, so if you have been following this, give me a thumbs up. I haven't been following the news. I normally don't either. I don't actually follow. Here's what I follow. I have a couple of YouTube people that I trust enormously. Yes, he will always be my baby. I have a couple of YouTube creators that I follow consistently. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but no, once I caught on to how they're doing it, no, it's really makes a lot of sense. Actually, the name is Alaska Prepper, the Alaska Prepper. He is fabulous. He is out of Alaska, obviously, and he brings several elements to his channel. But I think, hello, Kenneth. Thank you for popping in. I appreciate it. It's good to see you. Okay, so I understand that. So share us out on your social media if you feel so inclined. I would appreciate it. And so Alaska Prepper talks about his prepping, the preps. What is he prepping? How is he doing it? The canning, the freezing. So the canner, back to the canner. I want a canner so bad I can't stand it. But I believe this time I'm gonna have to settle for just a water bath canner, which is about $50, and I'm planning on having that maybe this weekend. Karen, hey, welcome aboard. Glad you're here. So, but if I can get the pressure canner, then I'm going to get the pressure canner, and that will open up a vast array of things. I'll tell you something I watched a young man do yesterday. He canned 6 pounds. He canned 6 pounds of butter. Why would you can 6 pounds of butter? Five, yeah, because you can. No, Richard, that was Richard, because you can. Oh, funny, Richard. So 5 years shelf life. And that goes up on the shelf. 5 years shelf life. If you do it with the water bath canner, it's only about a year. And so, and there's also, by the way, dried butter. Never heard of that. Never heard of dried butter before this, but it makes sense. So that would be through having a food dryer, a food dryer. So there's a couple things I would like to get eventually here. Kenneth's doing well. All right. So as for I'm going to pull up on the screen here and share some insights. I have been following it. So once I read these couple of people, and one gives a daily broadcast. Basically, it's a broadcast about what's going on in the world and how we're being affected by it. And I think everybody understands, to one degree or another, we are being affected by a supply chain that has got some issues for a number of reasons. COVID was part of it. We understand that. I understand that. I accept that. Um, the issue and how workers kind of changed up their idea of what they were willing to do, I'm pretty sure has affected it as well. And I'm not saying I have no judgment of that. It just is what it is. And then there are other issues. I didn't understand how much we get from the Ukraine. We get a lot of vegetables out of the Ukraine. We all know a lot of stuff as well from Russia. So now that that issue is on board with us, it's going to affect us all. Then I wasn't really paying attention to these fires until until I was reading an article and they cited 12. And apparently there was even more in this country since the beginning of the year, fires at foodware manufacturers and warehouses, and including a facility that is for food boxes, 50,000 pounds of food lost in a fire, which is just unimaginable to me. So I'm going to pull this up on the screen. I do have the citations in my description of where I got the information from, so that, first of all, I cite people, the original artists, the original collectors of the information deserve that. All right, so I'm going to go to the article itself so that I can move it around. And I highlighted certain things. So here we go. I'm just going to read this. It's really not a lot. The fact is that since last year, more than a dozen of these fires and explosions have taken place at food processing and distribution centers. I'm going to try and pay attention on my phone to if anybody comes in. Please, I know you'll welcome them. In Oregon, Azure Standard is an independently owned company that specializes in natural and GMO foods, was destroyed. This is what the founder, David Stetzer, had to say. For our customers, three primary product groups are affected due to the destroyed automated liquid pour facility, fruit packing facilities, and carob product facilities. He continued, because this we will experience out of stock status of Azure market oils, honey, and vinegars. Basically, any Azure market product, liquid product, as well as our carob products for the short term. We are not yet fruit harvest, so no immediate impact will be experienced from the loss of our fruit packing facility. None of the products we distribute for our vendors will be affected. So here's the deal. That's what I've noticed, and the reason I even knew about Azure is because there is a wonderful young lady. She has a YouTube channel called Acre Farm or Acre Homestead. Acre Homestead, wonderful young lady. Her and her husband own this 1 acre, and what she's doing with it is phenomenal. But she gets so much of stuff from Azure Standard, and I always hear her talking about it. And a couple of the other, hello, gay rancher, that would be my son, Alex. And so a couple of the other YouTube creators who do a lot of cooking stuff get their stuff from Azure Standard. And as a matter of fact, another one out of Alaska, a woman that I have discovered her channel, her and her family, there's like, I believe 5 of them, moved from Arizona to Alaska. Can you even imagine day 1 in Alaska from Arizona? Now, I can imagine day 1 was probably an interesting day. I don't know, but I think I'm right. Okay. So that's important. That is from what I understand, that is an amazing, and by the way, that is here in Oregon. It's called Dufur, D-U-F-U-R, Oregon. Dufur, Oregon. I didn't know Oregon is where Azure was, because I'd like to go there. If you could find out where Dufur is, Brent, Richard, Alexander. New Hampshire, Conway, New Hampshire, East Conway beef and pork. The facility completely destroyed. California, Salinas, California, massive fire at the Taylor Farms, a major agricultural company. Facility. Oh, I'm here. I'm on Taylor, a major agricultural company that produces and delivers many of the salad kits seen in grocery stores. I love those salad kits. I love them. The cause of the fire is currently under investigation, which, by the way, every one of these fires is under investigation. So we don't know what caused it, other than in a very short amount of time, there was a large spate of fires to our food production line. Indiana, Walmart Distribution Center, Plainfield, Indiana, destroyed the 1 million square foot operation. Victoria May, thank you very much for coming. That's odd to me. I have to say, Walmart has sprinklers all over their ceiling. 1 million square feet operation destroyed. Texas, Rio Fresh facility in San Juan, one of the largest food facilities of its kind in South Texas, caught fire and burned to the ground. It grew, packed, and shipped. Grew, packed, and shipped. Imagine the jobs. I mean, really, I can't fathom that. The people now out of work. A variety of Texas grown vegetables, sweet onions, melons, greens. We can imagine. The cause of the fire, currently unknown. Oregon again. Another fire in Oregon. Hermiston, Oregon. Hermiston's up north. Interstate 84 goes between Oregon coast and Idaho. And it's a long, it goes, 84 goes from right outside of Portland to Idaho. I don't know why I said that. And I cannot, it's right in the middle of I don't like that part of the state. Anyways, the Shearer Farm massive food processing facility suddenly exploded, injuring 7 of nearly 400 people. According to report, the cause of the explosion, which originated near the boiler, is still under investigation. And then finally, these are the ones that I chose. Arizona, Maricopa County, the Maricopa Food Pantry had a massive fire, wiping out more than 50,000 pounds in food. That was 4 food pantries. And here again, I have my citations down here. When I heard about it, I tried to go to the most responsible, if it's possible, but Azure Standard, I got it right from their site, the Free Thought Project. I went there, Vision Times, and Market Realist. So that is where I got my information from. I just look at this, and it's basically clear across the country, west to east, north to south. And there's more. I just did not, I think that explains kind of my concern. And I think the concern of a lot of people. Backroads Nomad. Their fires are no accident nor coincidence. They have been done on purpose. So I understand that is one of the concerns. It's a concern for me. So why might that happen? And my little sister, who is not on here because she's grandchildren, and one of them had a game today. And
hello everyone, stopping by, saying hi, and just saying that maybe it's because of a conspiracy theory. I'm just saying that's a thought.
It's a thought. So, obviously there's lots of people with different ideas. Kaylee says, hi, good son. So,
hi, Kaylee.
He says hi. So my little sister and I were talking yesterday on the phone about this, which she was actually excited about until she found out the time, and she will go back. Paula, hello, Vanvita. Vanvita Travels. Hello, Paula. Thank you, hon. I thought for a travel prepping channel, Oh God. So anyways, I
made her wear the necklace.
oh my son insisted on my necklace. I just love him. So anyways, we were talking about this concern, and then she brought, I'm going to bring an article up. So there is an issue. I mean, I know there's a shipping issue because, but I didn't realize how deep it was. Backroads Nomad, the socialist agenda is being perpetrated exponentially throughout the country. It's as plain as the nose on your face. I know that very well is, I don't know that that's affecting this, but I'm not saying it's not. I am talking about this as neutral as I can so that I can at least get some information out there. I think it's imperative, really. As I start, when Priscilla and I were talking, so I'm going to bring something else up on screen here. Share screen. Okay, I got to stop that. I have to redo it. Okay. I want to make sure I put the correct one up here. Oh man. Okay, yes, it is in New York. I'm going to be sharing. Darn it. I don't want to share. I have, okay. I have to look at this again for myself to make sure I show the right thing because I have a bunch of Windows or a bunch of Word stuff opened. All right. I'm just gonna share a little bit of this because I'm gonna do more research on it. Okay. So now I know how to get it up on the screen. Me and this part of it have had common conflicts of getting the right thing up on the screen. All right, I got it. All right, so you see this man standing here. This is a man who owns a Almond Factory in California. He's the grower. He owns the fields, the factory. So the issue is, I'm just going to read a little bit here. Scott Phippen at his almond facility stuffed with leftovers he can't ship. Those almonds aren't worth squat in the warehouse. They are worth a lot of money in Dubai. So the fellow who did the article is Peter Goodman, and I'm just going to take a few pieces. So in 5 months, there is a new harvest going to happen with new almonds in 5 months. And what the owner, Scott Phippen, says is his warehouse is now stuffed with leftovers of last year's harvest. 30 million pounds. 30 million pounds of almonds stored in wooden and plastic bins stacked to the rafters and overflowing into his yard. Orders assembled for customers sit in giant white plastic bags and cardboard cartons array across pallets waiting ships to go to Asia and the Middle East. The almonds are here. Customers are over there. And there is an issue with the global shipping industry. There are no shipping containers. So what he's being told is there are no shipping containers available, no space on board. He says, my warehouses are already bulging at the seams. It scares the crap out of me because in 5 months, I'm going to get a new crop in the door. There's no timeout in farming. Beyond the logistical torment, the crisis assailing almond producers is inflicting deep financial consequences from diminished revenues to higher costs for storage. The same can be said for a broad array of other American agricultural exports, from wheat growers in North Dakota to soybean producers in Nebraska. As shipping crops to customers has become maddening to the point of futility. This is green because it relates to money, honey. Most of the almonds stuck in Mr. Fippen's warehouse have already been purchased by buyers across the water. And what is understood, so let's see. The exasperation of agricultural exports amounts to the latest chapter of the great supply chain disruption. The tumultuous reordering of international trade and transportation amid the worst pandemic in a century. At the center of the story is the shipping container, the steel box that revolutionized commerce, allowing unfathomable quantities of goods to be carried around the planet. Could nobody see this coming? I mean, I have to be honest. I am somebody who does try to look ahead. And if I was, let's say I built shipping containers, I might want to have a good idea of how many people are out there and are in need of these containers and be putting out more containers. And if I were an owner of a massive field of almonds that I sell on a regular basis across the ocean, I'd be finding out and being clear about if that was even available to do. I know that the pandemic happened and there was nothing anybody could do. Shipping companies with last year's collective secured profits reaching 190 billion. So shipping companies had profits of $190 billion, harvested especially enormous returns on their routes from China ports to the west coast of the United States. Normally offloaded in Los Angeles and Long Beach. So I'm not going to finish this article in part because I need to do some more research on it, but it's a real issue. And so my little sister was curious. We were curious. Do we think that there could be people who own things, let's say own a gigantic amount of this stuff, and I'm not blaming this man. Okay, don't hear me saying that I'm blaming him or saying because his didn't burn out. But let's see what Kaylee said. Follow the money. Follow the money. Determine who benefits from shortages, waste, destruction. And there is another article I didn't even get to, but next week will be, I already know what my topic is going to be because I want to talk about how the different elements of the shortage. You know, one of the reasons I want to prep, one of the reasons I'm starting to prep is this issue, plain as day, because I know, I believe, and I've seen, oh gosh, there is a prepper. His name is, oh goodness gracious. I can't think of the fellow's name. He gets pictures, he gets videos, and he gets pictures from all across the country. People sending them in to his YouTube channel, and he posts it. And then other people in that community go out and they check it out for themselves, and they find out, yes, it is true. Here in Oregon, Canadian prepper, no, it's not that he doesn't, but that the Canadian prepper is very much, wow. Highly recommend the Canadian prepper, though. He does own a prepping company, things that are not just sold to preppers, but sold also to like non-GMOs, or excuse me, non-government NGOs, non-government organizations. Describe him, Canadian prepper. Let me pull him up first of all. I'm just going to pull him up. Canadian prepper. Here we go. Nate is his name. And he gets, so the cool thing about Nate.
My folks.
So the cool thing about having him as a channel is, I'm going to pull him up right now. Stop that screen, pull up another one, is that Nate gets back office information. For instance, instance, Berkey's. He knew before we knew that Berkey's were, there was going to be an issue with Berkey's because he sells Berkey's. And the person who sells Berkey's to Nate notified him. And so Nate then came and did a video and shared it with people. He also did a recent video about a man who sells bunkers. He builds bunkers. His company is a bunker builder, okay? Shipped all over the world in one piece. And some of them, he's just in the most recent weeks, he'd only met up one billionaire in his life. That work he did, he'd only met a lot of millionaires, but only one billionaire. He has now met eight. 8 billionaires have ordered massive bunkers. And he does have smaller bunkers, but they're around $40,000 to $50,000. That's still a lot of money. But if you live someplace where you really want to have that, it's something to have available. So that's Nate. And I'm going to pull up the other person who does something every single day of the week. And he is, let me pull it up here. Oh, gosh. All right. I don't want to run the
Things
sound.
are definitely heating up, and
I'm going to get his channel name up there. Well, you'll see it when I put it up here. All right. Brad is his name. And he and his wife are out of Georgia, although they go to Florida to be with family or help family, something like that. Anyways, we get a lot of information from him on a daily basis. He always does a video. All right. And this might be the one I've missed today. So this, for instance, he has his information, every single thing he has said, 110% on target about everything, from the conflict between Ukraine and Russia to other issues relating to that, to the supply chain. So when I hear him talking about an issue, I go start researching it. He's that reliable. And it's Kelly is his wife's name. We just bought a cargo container. There's 1,000 of cargo containers sitting empty in their yard. I asked the yard manager who owns them. Guess who owns the ones not available? His initials, BG. I'm in my head. It might be because I'm processing a lot as I'm speaking, but I'll figure it out. Cynthia Pollock, hello to you. Thank you for coming so much, for being here. So let's see, Kelly. Yep, there's Canadian Preppers channel. And Brad's channel is Full Spectrum Survival. Full Spectrum Survival. And again, I mean, there's nothing that's even been remotely shady or not 100%, or he has a hidden agenda. Now, I don't always agree with his particular outcome thought, okay? Because I think I pretty clearly understand what he thinks about different issues. Okay, I get it. And yes, apparently, and I'm going to research this, but apparently the largest private owner, I'm going to get a haircut ideally this week because I'm sorry. I keep messing with my bangs. He's the largest private owner of major farms in the country. I don't know that to be true. So just keep that in mind. I'm not 100% about that. And so I don't like making oops. I don't like making an absolute statement, but that's my understanding. Thank you, Kaylee, for putting up Brad's. If you do go to these two people, please tell them that my channel says hello and that I sent you there. If you feel like it, don't have to. And so those are just some of the issues involved in this. I don't know why this is all happening. I have ideas about it. I'm not 100% about it, ever, about anything, rarely. But I have some strong beliefs. So what I did, I had a disagreement with what I would like, why I feel a different way than Brad. And so I went to his channel and I said, Nomad Hatters, that would be my nephew and his wife. Hello there. Billy and Peggy, their ranch. Well, they don't own it. They are the managers of it. And my son and them are going in together and building from what I understand now, it's cattle. They're going to do cattle ranching with Black Angus and horses. The owner of the property, who is an offsite owner, way offsite owner, he bought 12 horses that they got there about 3 weeks ago. And then my nephew and his wife, they have already 3, I believe, or 4 of their own horses now. So there'll be, my son, the gay rancher, is doing his own channel about all that. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So I just went to how I handled it, because I really disagreed with the end result. I'm not talking 10 years. I'm talking history books. My feeling, and this is and you know what? I may change my mind in an hour or 10 years or 2 years. In the history books, and my son-in-law disagrees. We have a great conversation about this, actually. In the history books, I would like this country to be known for a certain behavior. And I hate war. I'm terrified. I'm terrified of war. I'm not, let me rephrase that. I'm for the young people, because I would, I know how to shoot a gun. I do. And if I had to, I would. But it is the young people who suffer. And the Alaska Prepper made a good commentary, because he served, and there was suffering, and he saw stuff and whatnot, and I respected 100%. I expect that 100%. Respect that. But in the long run, 100 years from now, 200 years from now, 500 years from now, if this country is still standing, which I'm having concerns and doubts about, to be honest with you, I would like us to be seen for a country that did stand up to tyranny. And yet my son-in-law says, is that not considered tyrannical to other people? I don't know. So that's why I like getting other points of view. I don't say I'm right. I just say my conscience, that may change. How do we do that without war? So we have now inflicted these embargoes, these tariffs, whatever you want to call them, on Russia. I understand why. The thought is it, in my mind, the thought is that it will, the more pressure that is put on that government, the more that the people will get pissed off and want change in their own government, which I can't even imagine how that will happen someday for them. I wish the Russians the best, the Russian people. But those people that they're rallying against, those people will never suffer. They have billions of dollars, and they will never face the kind of suffering that our men and women would if they're in war. And I understand that. And yet I understand that I don't want our country to allow tyranny to win. I don't know how to have it both ways, and I just lost 3 people, so thank you. That's all right. I get it. I don't expect people to necessarily agree with me. And I respect that right, because I live in a country that still allows that. And I fully respect your rights. And I actually not just respect your rights, but I respect your voice. So what I'm going to do, let's see, what time is it? There's 15 minutes. So next week, we're going to talk about the supply chain. As far as the fires, do any of you have any ideas? What do you think? So I'd like feedback now. If you just want to type it on the screen, please type it on the screen. I'd love to hear what you think about these fires. What might be causing these fires? Because there's a multitude of things. Remember adage about standing up for others. When they come for, fill in the blank, I did nothing. When they came for, I did nothing. When they came for me, no one left to stand for me. That is that just gave me chills, because that's exactly how I feel. And I don't know. I don't know the right answer. That just has to be up to each individual person. What about transgendered women? If we have war, will they have to fight? As a mama bear, I need to know. So again, I know that there is transgendered women in there. See, I believe women should be, I believe females should be, also have to sign up for selective service. I do believe that. And it's so, I was supposed to go in the military when I was 18. I worked my ass literally off. I lost the last 30 pounds I needed to be perfect weight for the Navy. I was going in the Navy. I spent 2 years, literally every day almost, at the Navy recruiter's office. And, learning things. I was going in the Navy. And then I met a boy right before the end of school. And no, it wasn't Richard. I wish I'd met him back then, but it wasn't Richard. And although it ended up being very short term, I maybe deep inside I was afraid. I don't know, but I really wish if the rest of my life could have been the same as far as meeting Richard and having Brent, I wished I would have went in the Navy, because I was a very undisciplined person, except for anytime I have a goal, I meet the goal and I work really, really hard to get that goal met. I think people who followed my channel know that. Anything I've ever really, really wanted, I've always gotten. I've never went and said, man, I wish I had gotten that. Except now looking back, I wish I had served the country and been in that situation, but I did not. And Cynthia, okay, so as far as the transgendered women, all right, I believe that is a complication. I'll be honest, I'll never lie to you guys about how I have a gay son, him and his husband, we all live together, him and his husband, me and Richard. I love my son. I don't care at all that he's gay. I know it's a different but same kind of, there's boundaries that are different than when I grew up and when probably most of you grew up, if not everybody on here grew up. And let's see, not tyrannical to stand up for bullies. Tyranny is cruel and oppressive government. Yes, rule. That terrifies me almost more than anything, I'll be very honest, because the oppression that happens under that is beyond, So as far as transgendered, I don't think first of all, don't think they should be forced to go in if that is how they're living today. Unless I do believe that the sex that if I was going to go in the military, let's say I was transgender, the sex that I was born with as a female is the group I should room with, live with, home with, all right? And that's not because I have anything against transgendered people at all. additionally, male transgendered people. Of course, there has to be, we have to have room in this culture, in this world, for differences. And sometimes differences means, guess what? I can't run the 50-yard dash, so I should never be put on. Even when I was young and I was healthy and I was fit and I was a javelin thrower with records for the state of Oregon, when I was a kid doing those things, doing the shot put, doing the discus, I worked out with the boys. I did not work out with girls. I wanted to be pushed harder. And I ended up injuring myself, 3 shoulder surgeries, unfortunately, as a result of that. And back then, nobody really understood that it was going to hurt me. And it might have been where my back injury originated. So, Griswold Family Vacay, welcome. Glad you're here. We're having an interesting conversation about all these fires that have burned down. I believe I will be honest with you. That's driving me crazy. I believe that they should be given a pass or were utilized in a different way. Okay, let's break different boundaries here. Maybe use, if they want to be utilized in a different way, maybe in the, what is it called when it's not military, but it's public, like that works in collaboration with the military. I just think that is a complication that could be injurious to the person. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm just saying today, my feeling is that we need, that really needs to be thought through well and implemented in a way that nobody is in danger. I know a couple of people who've been to prison. I have a niece sitting in the women's prison right now in Oregon. She's like my daughter, but she's a recovering drug addict, and that has taken her down roads that lead to prison. And I have heard stories from her where transgendered women, I think that's the right way in the women's prison. There have been assaults of female-born women, gendered women they've been assaulted. They've been put in. It's a bad situation. And I'm thinking similar things could happen similar things could happen in the military situation, especially if we end up in a very quick acting, necessary for recruitment situation, and not a lot of time to separate all these issues out. I'm sensitive to all of that, extremely. Cynthia again. Let's see what Kaylee said. My heart hurts for your worry. I think that the medical concerns therein should be considered disqualifying. I agree. I agree. And if I wanted to go, like I went down there today, my age, my weight, and a couple of medical conditions that I was born with would disqualify. Well, no, they weren't found out until later in life, because when I was going in the Navy, I had not yet had my physical. That's why I had to go lose 30 more pounds, because I knew I needed 30 more pounds to go to be at their perfect weight. I wanted to go in ready to kick butt in the what do you call it? Boot camp. And for those who just came on board, I didn't make it. I'm sorry, I did not go. At the last minute, I bugged out over a male who lasted like 5 minutes. So I think I was probably at that age just looking for a way out, because I've never been real good with commitment. Travel Dreamer, glad you are here. Glad you're here. And that is Fatima, I believe, or is... let me scroll back up. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Yes, I think Travel Dreamer is Fatima. And so we are discussing the fires as it shows on my little thumbnail. Question, honest answer, please. Is that thumbnail too busy? Please tell me. People in my family I get feedback from too, and I ask for it. So I'm not like a victim at all. I'm trying to do this the best I can, especially since I'm trying to take a more assertive role in my channel. It's my channel. I should be the one making assertive moves. Dreamer, yes it is. Okay, cool. Glad to see that is you. Okay, so way too many of the stuff on my, if you think that my thumbnail had too much stuff on it, give me a thumbs up. Yes, I know that sounds crazy, but that's why I'm iced coffee. And it's only like, it's not very warm here in Eugene. Oh, all right. There we go. Not enough contrast for visually impaired. Busy. Thank you. Is the red, I think the red might be too dark. Unless it's like one big thing. Or, you know, just two big things. And that's why I did the white. But, so is the red the wrong color? What fires were these? Okay, so late to the party, that's cool. No problem. So there have been over a dozen fires in the country, in this country, since the beginning of the year, that have burned down food processing plants from the West Coast here in Oregon. Azure Standard. So I knew nothing about Azure Standard. Oh, okay. Azure Standard is like a premier non-GMO natural production of food. And the people that I have come in contact with in my prepping side of the channel, and they do a lot of cooking, and like this one young lady will put up do 25 meals, frozen, like for instance, freezer meals. Plus, she not only does freezer meals, for instance, but let's say there's something that she needs. She has all forms of it, whether it be onion or whether it be corn. She powders her own. There's something I'm trying to think of that's in the back of my mind. Acre Farm. Acre Homestead is the name. So anyways, she got me turned on to it originally. And now there's a couple other bakers that I'm following that get much of their stuff from Azure Standard. And in fact, a new channel that I'm following that I'm going to talk more about, I'm going to try and get her on here. They recently moved from Arizona to Alaska. And here's another supply chain thing. But let me say this first. She gets a lot of stuff. She had to have a bunch of stuff sent to stock her brand new pantry. Thank you, Kaylee. Azure Standard, top quality. I didn't know they're here in Oregon in a town called Dufur, D-U-F-U-R. I had no clue. And I have heard of Dufur before, but I've never heard of Azure Standard before. And so anyway, another supply chain issue. So all these there's over a dozen have burned down. East Coast to the West Coast, Central, North and South. And none of them have been figured out. So that is a concern because it is also affecting then the supply chain, which is something we don't need any more of. And in the world of preppers, what that means is I need to get my butt busy as much as I can and start making sure that I have what I need, whether it be spices. And it's recommended. Most people cook with spices of some sort or another. I have onions, I have dried onions, and I have powdered onion. and I need to make bigger stock of that. I don't have a ton of it, and so that that's an issue. Also, beans, for instance, would be another thing. Making sure that I have like black beans in a can and black beans that are frozen. I have actually a big thing, like a 5-gallon flat. Maybe it's not 5 gallons. It's probably a flat 3-gallon thing that I have black beans in. B&D Crafts and More. Hi, Brian. Thank you for coming in. So I was just doing this, today, talking about the fires that have happened in these warehouses that have food in them, and what people might be thinking if there's kind of a thought that's coming from the community. But I didn't know this either until I started working my channel, doing some prepper stuff. Speaking of, I'm going to turn my camera for just a moment to this is an old cabinet. Let me see if I can get it in. Okay, well, it's not. Oh, there it is. It's about, it goes, oops, now I'm messing up my camera. See that cabinet right there? That is, my father built that cabinet for me when I was about not 18 years old, I think, or younger, 16, for my bedroom. And it's where I put my TV, and I had books and stuff in it. Well, I'm now 60 years old. That's a very rough, that's not my dad's handiwork. That was a down and dirty. I needed it, and he just went out and threw it together. I've got a beautiful cabinet that he made for my TV when I was 30. Him and Richard built it. He showed Richard how to do it. So I'm going to be using that to do some things with a lot. I believe I'm going to have Richard probably take these little, see the small separator right there? It's a piece of wood that goes, it's between 2 levels. And if he can, he can't safely remove that. It's holding it up. All right, never mind. See, I just talked it through. No problem. I just talked it through. I thought that'll make that one little section more bigger. So does anybody have any feedback on what you think might be happening? Is there anybody here who this is their first time hearing that we have had over a dozen fires in our local United States of America? Food warehouses, manufacturing, people not being able to get their goods out of their farm into a box to ship overseas to places that have already bought it. Is there any ideas? Because like my son so interestingly mentioned the idea of a, gosh, I don't even remember what it was. So I want to go back here for a moment. In the feeds, thumbnails are so small. In the feed size, I can see the words live chat and fires by. Good. All right. So I tried to really make those 2 things stand out. And then if somebody was interested, they'd click on and see more. So what I also read, I believe, I believe some kind of conspiracy against America. So that's a strong possibility. I was listening to a show that talked about how, and since I don't have the information right in front of me, I want to be careful because I don't want, they can actually, I was worried about reading from that article that I read from. I was a little worried about it because I did not want to get them to shut my stream down like that. Because when there's a live stream, I found out when I did some research about using someone else's material, fair fair something. I know I know what it means. I just got to think of the right second word. So YouTube is constantly scanning live streams, and if I read from so let's say Kaylee wrote something, and I did not have your permission to read it on YouTube, they would shut me down immediately. If it was private property that you'd published, but I hadn't gotten, it's kind of like with music. It's the same thing. So you have to have permission in one way or another. And so what I was going to go back to this, Kaylee, is that it's not uncommon to have warehouse fires. I was looking at the National Firefighters Association, and that isn't necessarily uncommon on a daily basis. But what's uncommon is for it to be a food distribution warehouse, or a food manufacturing plant, where from the field is right here, and they bring it from the field into whatever they do to in their manufacturing process. That's uncommon, according to the Firefighters Association. Oh, for sure, I feel like it's from inside our country, financial motives. It's always yes, ma'am. It's always a possibility. Very much so. There's a lot of loss. If it is true, what I shared about the almond grower, which I will get more information here this week, because next week is going to be on the supply chain directly. Hello, Bitter Critter. I think you're new to the channel, and nice to meet you. Thank you for coming in. I really want to write down. Oh, and I have this nice candle beside me. It is Lavender Field. All right, Bitter Critter. I want to make sure I check you out. Bitter Critter. I want to make sure I got that name right. The Bitter Critter. The Bitter Critter. Probably would have got me to you, but yeah, information. I just love facts and proof and reason. Me too. So there is a philosophy called Occam's razor, and I'm sure somebody knows about it out there. I learned about it in college. My son-in-law and I talk about this all the time. Occam's razor. OCCAMRAZOR. Occam's razor. And I'm going to put a banner up here. I think it's an important banner before I spout my mouth off. Especially since we have someone new to the channel. Let's see. I think I had it. There we go. If you see someone here you don't know, please write down their name. Go to their channel after the feed and say hi to them. Watch a couple videos. If you like them, tell them that I sent you, and give them a hello. So Occam's razor is the situation where if I have a car accident, I'm riding in someone else's car, I'm in the passenger seat, and the firemen find the driver is injured or asleep or whatever, and I have a cut on my forehead, and my seat belt is not on. What might be the most likely reason I hit the windshield? That's what's Occam's razor. Oh, ACHEM. Thank you, Kaylee, for that, because that the simplest explanation is usually the right one. Be careful about platitudes, though. Premeditation, big crime. Oh, I know. I know. So that's why I'm trying to keep my mind very open to what the possibilities are. I don't want to be blind and say we're doing nothing wrong. So what was postulated on a show today or on a video was that, and if we can't talk about stuff that people disagree on, we're at a bad spot in this world cycle. So the idea is maybe it's possible that that people, because the United States administration is sending arms, sending secondary support to Ukraine, that is it possible? Is it possible? And it's doing a lot of damage because in theory, Russia should have been able to come in and do their deal. I mean, I really thought it's 7 a.m. They will be done by noon and wiped up by 6. I mean, I was afraid of that. That wasn't something I was wanting. I'm just thinking, OM gosh. These people are, I would say the word, but I don't want to offend anybody, but starts with an S. These people are in a bad situation. So what if other entities from outside the country have decided just to make our life as hard as possible, considering we already are struggling with the supply chain because of some of these other bigger issues? What if? And I don't know. I have not a clue. I'm simply saying, what if? Okay. So I'm just trying to look out. All I can do right now, as far as the supply chain, working on the prepping side of my channel and my life, Richard and I, is to make sure that we have what we need, that we OCCEM. All right. I always thought there was a K. And Josh and I talk about that in so many different situations. So, like I'm thinking the bird flu is here. I've talked about having a small bird flock, some chickens, and Camper Van Kevin prefers duck eggs. He liked the duck eggs. He did a little test of duck eggs, chicken eggs, and there's a smaller egg, much smaller. He bought some and he tested them for us, and he preferred the duck. Anyways, neither here nor there. But I thought about getting some chickens. I don't think I would want to kill them and have them, like they do have fryer chickens that you raise, and egg-laying chickens. I don't think I'm interested in killing them. It wouldn't be me anyways. I'm just being very straight honest with you. It would be Richard, and I don't think he's interested in having to do it either. Quail. Thank you, Fatima. Quail eggs. And he just said they're just too small, and for the money especially, I would imagine. So I thought about getting a small coop and putting it out here. I know my dad wanted to for a long time, and I'm like, no, Dad. We have too many physical things going on. And in our case, that's true, but it wouldn't be that hard. So I've been watching, maybe 2, 3, 4 chickens. If it gets really bad, to get us some chickens and have the area overhead protected, because you don't want predator birds and whatnot, and for outside birds to come in and there to be problems. So it's something I'm thinking about. I will see, because I do use a lot of eggs in this house. Like I said to begin with, when we go grocery shopping and do our big monthly shop, we get a big thing. It's like 6 dozen eggs or something like that. So this is stuff for all of us to think about and be, even if you're not prepper, that's fine. I mean, I'm giving this information to my family. I don't think they really care. I don't think they're interested in it, to be honest. Other than, Priscilla and I have had some good conversations about it. about this particular issue and about the supply chain. Nobody can really deny that's an issue. It's there. I don't know why. And there's these ancillary issues that are affecting the supply chain. So I'm not making them, you know, not trying to drag them over in here, but I'm prepping an extra few things. Let's just put it that way. But I have, like, for instance, baked beans. I like baked beans once in a while. So I have the beans I can cook from dry beans. I have also beans in cans out in the pantry in the garage, which we're going to expand. Richard finally got into that. My dad our house is a 2-car garage. And when my mother started canning, he took and he built a pantry. It's not a big pantry though. I mean, it is a walk-in pantry. I can walk in, stand there. I could turn and walk another step or two. So there's shelving on one wall, shelving on another wall. I'm thinking I would like to take this wall out, and then there's a whole other room on the other side that was my dad's, where he put tools and whatnot, and a little door from inside the garage. So we can enter, I can walk a couple steps out into the garage, go straight into the pantry, which I will take you guys to see in a video. I think I'm going to do a video so it can be edited. And then he built, the other side was for his tools. And also my dad and I I was learning how to develop film. He was teaching me how to develop film, Priscilla and I. And so that was, I think we used that as a dark room as well. Anyway, I want to open that up. And so the whole thing on one wall, the whole wall spanning that whole single car garage area is nothing but a pantry shelving, and then maybe come across the garage door that's not going to be opened with maybe with something else, so that there was more. But I don't know. There's many things that can be done. For organized pantry ideas, take a look at the Netflix show Get Organized with the home edit. 2 women go to people's houses. Thank you for reminding me of that. It's been a while since I've watched that, but I will go and watch that. Home edit. That's right. There was a woman here in town that's on Netflix. There was a woman here in town at Christmas was doing a special for helping people get organized and, you know, marketing it as a Christmas gift. It was about $400 or $500, and I could not do it. I wished I had, but I didn't. And I thought about, it might have only been $300. Which is a chunk of money. But our house has 4 adults living in it, and it really could use some organization. Doing just that would probably be less, I'm sure, if I could, get some ideas and maybe then have some ideas and bring someone in to help me. It doesn't matter. That's very sad to hear. I'm sorry to hear that. I don't wish that on anybody. But there's seasons they have had so far. So I believe we're over. I have no doubt. 420. Oh, that's too funny. I'm just wanting to do as much as I can, learn about it, maybe help others. I will do more cooking as a result of doing this particular segment of my channel, and I'm trying to make contact with these people. I'm telling you, it's not uncommon for people who are in the prepper channel community. All right, I'll watch it because I love watching shows like that. I lost my thought. Well, I lost my train of thought. So I will be doing, oh, I know what I was saying. I need to be doing more cooking. We have a gigantic stand-up freezer. It's kind of full right now of meat, but if I bought the meats that I knew I was going to cook, do some meal plans, and do my goal would be to like do 3 of everything. So maybe take 5 recipes and do 3 times 5, 15 frozen meals. And I do know now what I was going to say. My cooking has dramatically changed since it's just Richard and I come from 6 female siblings. So there were 6 of us. My mom, my dad, one of his sisters who had an intellectual disability, but was back in the day was not diagnosed correctly. She could have been dealt with, taught. She was not stupid. She had just some, anyway, she helped raise us. And she was just like another mom. And then my dad's mom, 10 of us at one point lived in the same house with 3 bedrooms. Not this one, but I don't remember all of us being at home together. My 2 oldest sisters were old enough to be my mom, and they were gone by the time I have actual memory of them. So here we go again. I'm thinking of too many things. So doing these big, so how it's changed. So I assuming I would make smaller, instead of using, because I did learn to cook for lots of people. Our holidays as a child, my mother cooked on a regular basis for holidays. She cooked for easily 25 people every holiday for a long time. And they weren't all family. They were also friends. My mother was a very wide open doored person, and that is exactly how I am. So I think I probably should shut this little baby down. We're going on an hour and a half, and I don't want to keep anybody hostage here. So thank you for coming. If you can do it, go back and leave me, here's something I'd like. I'd like you to leave me something positive that you found in the channel today, and something you think I could work on. So a strength and a weakness. A strength as far as whatever you think was a strength today. I don't care what it is. I don't care what you think my weakness is, where I need to build my skill better, or my delivery, because it matters to me. I want to be delivering this in a way that you guys like to come and watch, and maybe bring other people along with you. Let us know in the comments if you would please. And thank you guys so much for showing up and supporting the channel. It deeply, deeply does matter to me, and it affects me in a positive way. All right, you guys, take care, stay safe and healthy, and we love you very much.